Welcome to Espresso Jams, short, concentrated, delicious conversations about business, life, and more. And now, here's your host, Joe Matz.
Hello, I'm Joe Matz with Espresso Jams, and I'm here today with Liz Bull. I'm so happy that Liz was able to open up her schedule and sit with us today for a few minutes. She is a life and business consultant and has a lot of letters after her name. So, Liz, welcome to the show. And I'm going to ask you, please, to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Joe. And so appreciate you inviting me to do the espresso jam. I love that. I love the title, quite honestly, because it's short and vaguely sweet and very potent. So I love that. I love that. One of my favorites. So about me, yes, I am a certified life mastery consultant. And I am a medical intuitive. That's how I started, actually. And I became a master healer in a number of modalities. So essentially, I help people get underneath of the things that are keeping them either stuck, broke, or in some kind of physical pain or discomfort.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yes. And we were talking about the entrepreneurial journey and about being a business owner and how that can really be stressful and how business owners have a certain type of personality often we find. Is that, would you say that's correct?
Absolutely, that is correct. There's no two ways about it. What I've noticed, because I work with mostly business owners, entrepreneurs, and C-level people, C-suite people. Uh, they're just ruthlessly hard on themselves, very, very driven. Back in the day, we would call them type A personalities who had, drove themselves really, really hard. They tend to have perfectionist tendencies, which can, of course, be your undoing because the reality is, Pareto's law, the 80-20 rule, right? 80%, stands to reason. 20% of what you do is going to knock it out of the park, but that 80% of what you try is not going to work out well at all. And that's a killer for anybody. To reckon with that, especially if you have that perfectionist tendency when you just like, I got to get this right. I got to get this right. It's like, oh, I didn't get it right. Oh, I should have done that. So I help people overcome those tendencies so that they can say, yeah, right, that didn't work out. Next, what can I do better? How can I make this better the next time I try it? Or what can I do differently? Because a lot of times it's not that it needs to be better, it just needs to be different. But you have to get over, beating yourself. You have to stop beating yourself up long enough to realize that you could look at it a different way or see something different in the situation, and then go try that out and see how it flies.
So I think I suffer from some of that because
Oh,
I
I'm
like,
shocked, Joe.
I want things to be right.
Yeah,
And right means perfect. And
right means perfect, and it has to be right the first time without benefit of anyone's instruction or help.
it's a
Mm.
struggle. Maybe I'm not so bad as some of the people you're talking about, but there's, I think I've improved, but there's still road to be made. There's still improvement to be done. Um, what do you think about good is good enough for those perfectionists? Good
Well,
is, does that make sense? Good is good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect.
sometimes perfect just isn't worth the effort.
Hmm.
You have to look at how much effort am I putting into this, and is it really required?
Okay.
You have to look at. I like this phrase because I have that tendency myself. I had a friend when I lit skyscrapers for many years, and I always had to do that last little thing until finally one of my engineering buddies sent me this fax. This was back in the day of faxes, right? And there was like this gun pointed, straight at you kind of thing. And it said, go ahead, make one more change. you know, there comes a point in time, especially especially in the world of high-rise construction, we need to say, done, we're rolling with it. We don't have the time to do any more changes. We don't have the money to make any more changes. We're just going to have to throw it on the wall and hope that it sticks. And I think
So
that there's, done is better than perfect.
I'm getting a vision of my geometry class back in high school where the
Uh-huh.
curve goes down and it approaches zero, but it never actually arrives to zero. It could go on and on forever.
Oh
It's
yeah.
kind of like approaching perfection. You can get to excellence, but getting to perfection, does it ever really happen?
Well, exactly. And the thing about perfection is that it is a relative term, and it's in whose eyes?
Relative.
It's like beauty. Perfection and beauty are kind of like the same thing. It's in the eyes of the beholder. And sometimes it's just not required. It's not what someone might want.
Right.
You know, I mean, yeah, it's just not. And you think about the Japanese have this wonderful thing they call wabi sabi, and it's an appreciation and an acknowledgement that there is beauty in imperfection.
Oh, I've seen
Wabi
some of that
sabi.
on the
Uh-huh.
internet. I've seen some of the pictures where they work the imperfection into the piece of art or bowl, and it
Yeah,
just makes it more beautiful because of its uniqueness and because
exactly
it's
right.
not perfect.
Because it's not perfect. Exactly. Exactly. I love it because it's kind of a metaphor for human beings.
I think
You
so.
know, it's a metaphor for human beings. Nobody likes to think that they're not perfect, but we are perfectly imperfect.
So how
We are.
how
We,
would we know? Like how would you identify that perhaps I'm suffering of that too much? A little bit okay. Too much? Not okay. How would you identify
by your self-talk and how you speak about yourself, how you speak about what you've done. I find a lot of people who are um, is tendency to be self-deprecating,
that? Hmm.
and also what you do um, in terms of working too hard. A lot of people who suffer from that just work way too hard because they're in that pursuit of that. Oh, got to get it better. Oh, got to get it perfect.
Okay.
And meanwhile, they're depriving themselves of any enjoyment because I mean, it comes to a point where it's just not fun to be
So
working that hard and to always. I was working with a young chiropractor who suffered from this. I mean, a lot of us who are in this situation are typically firstborns,
hmm.
or they're further, only in firstborns. And there's this tendency I tease him about, he's put this stick on his head with the carrot out here. He works himself to death, but he can never get the carrot. Never get the carrot. Never get the carrot. Work, 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 work. Never get the carrot.
So
But he's the one right there.
what what can someone do? Like I know there's no quick fix, but is there something someone can do to help it be better other than talking with you and having a session with you or a number of sessions and having that real deep help? Is there anything someone could do like today that would help them?
Well, self-care is something that is usually lacking, and that's a start. Even doing something like taking the time to meditate in the morning just to calm down the nervous system can be helpful, because when you're in that situation of always striving, never arriving, as it were,
Oh,
your nervous system is pretty jacked up most of the time. It's jacked up pretty much all the time. So anything that you can do to calm it down is a good thing. It's a
okay.
good thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Because
And Liz, how could someone get in touch with you if they want to know more about what you do?
Well, they can jump on my website, which is easylizbull.com. That's Bull, just like the animal. Um, and, and schedule a consultation. Happy to chat and see what's going on and what next steps might be.
Great. And everyone listening here, I would recommend that you get in touch with Liz, have a conversation. She's so nice and so easy to talk to and talk with. And it has been a pleasure having you on Espresso Jams, Liz.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.